Strange but true stories, tales from the light side, the dark side, and the other side. I'm Steve White. We've seen a lot of stories come our way in the past few years about people being visited by strange creatures in the middle of the night. Today's story, sent to us by a viewer just like you, is a chilling account of contact with a group of creatures flush with vivid details. But even after experiencing it and remembering so much about it, she is still not sure what to make of it all. Could it have been real? We will let you decide, but here is her amazing story. Let me start off by saying I don't expect anyone to believe this story, because if I hadn't experienced it myself, I wouldn't believe it either. I'm a young woman, wife and mother, living in a very, very small town in Middle Tennessee. I've always believed in the paranormal, but nothing that I read growing up or watched on television or in the movie theater could have prepared me for what I encountered. This actually happened very recently. At the time that I'm writing this to you, it's been a little over a month since this incident. I was having a very hard time falling asleep. My husband was out of state for work for a long time. We have 3 children, and so at night I had my 2 little girls piled up in my bed with me and my 6-month-old son in his baby bed next to me. After struggling to fall asleep, I did finally drift off into what it felt like a deep, deep sleep. Well, I guess it wasn't that deep because I was awakened by something suddenly, and I had the feeling that someone else was in my bedroom. I was facing the wall opposite the door, and I had my 3 kids in my sight. I froze for a few minutes and simply listened. I didn't hear anything, but I still couldn't shake the feeling of a presence or something in the room with the 4 of us. Now, the neighborhood we live in has been having some issues with break-ins from meth heads who rob the occupants in the middle of the night. That was the first thought I had. Oh, great. A meth head in my house. He's going to rob us so he can go pawn something. But still, I didn't hear anything. And meth heads aren't really known for their stealth. I built up the courage to call out, "Take what you want, but don't you dare touch my children." After I said that, I slowly rolled over in the bed towards the door, and I saw a figure. But I couldn't make out what it was. It was far enough away that I calculated I would be able to grab my husband's gun and shoot it before it got to us. But when I tried to stand up, I was frozen. I couldn't move. I tried to move my legs, arms, hands, fingers, but nothing. I was frozen like a stone. A wave of panic came over me, but that's when I heard the most soothing, calming voice. It said,
"We're not going to hurt anyone."
Wow. Just writing that gave me goosebumps. I couldn't speak, but I went from panicked to no longer afraid. My eyes adjusted to the darkness, and I saw another figure standing beside the first one I had seen. And then 2 smaller figures, maybe children? I heard whispering, but I couldn't make out the words. The main figure took a step towards me, and I saw the most beautiful blue glow. It was coming off the figure as if every single vein in its body glowed. In response, the others began to glow blue as well. I couldn't make out very good facial features, but I can tell you these were not humans. I remember telling myself to wake up. This is some kind of crazy dream. Just wake up and all will be well. But deep down, I knew I was conscious and very awake. The one thing that struck me then and sticks with me now is how beautiful they were and how at peace I felt. Does that make sense? Then, I'm not sure exactly what happened next, if I blacked out or what, but when I woke up or regained consciousness again, I wasn't in my bed anymore. I was on my back, staring at a very shiny ceiling. Whatever I was lying on was extremely cold, and I couldn't move anything but my eyes. I've never felt the cold like I did that night. I felt exposed in a way, but not naked like some of the abduction stories I've heard. It was a different type of exposed, as if these things knew my every thought. I rotated my eyes to the left as far as I could, and I could barely see the tall figure that was in my bedroom with me. I don't know how I knew it was the same creature, the same one, but I just knew. I could hear a constant hum when the creatures were around me. I'm going to place gender on these beings because that's how I know how to relate. The creature I could see, the main creature I believed to be male. There was another that approached, and the male creature said something I couldn't make out. But the second creature said loudly,
"In the back of her mind, hidden away, she knows she's safe,"
as it stroked my long auburn hair. And this one sounded female. The male creature then said,
She was alone.
and then something else I couldn't make out as he dropped the volume of his voice. The female responded,
"They'll be reunited soon, and we'll check in."
It probably comes without me saying it, but I felt very weird. It was a feeling of deja vu that came over me. I knew this place. But how? I had no
There it is. She's starting to remember. But after this, she will fall into a deep sleep, and she'll think it all was a dream. No one will believe her,
the female said. I felt a cold burst of something entering my veins through my left arm, as if I was getting an IV. It didn't hurt, though. Next thing I remembered, I came to, sitting up in my bed. I got out of bed and started for the bathroom. I was trying to process what happened, what I had just seen and felt. I felt groggy and I couldn't stand up very well. I had to hang on to furniture and the walls as if gravity was new to me. I got into the bathroom and shut the door. I didn't turn on the light because I figured it would hurt my eyes. And then I saw a blue light out of the corner of my eye. My eyes shot down and I saw what looked like 4 little toes on a tiny foot with, you guessed it, blue glowing veins throughout it. I rubbed my eyes, looked down again, and 4 blue toes still there. What the And then I heard giggling. I began to stand up and they vanished. After a few minutes, I made my way back to the bedroom, and once again, I felt like I was still in a constant battle with gravity. I reached my bed, laid down, and closed my eyes. I cannot ever remember feeling as tired as I did at that moment, but just before I drifted off to sleep, I felt the coldest pairs of tiny lips meet my cheeks, as if there were 2 little children kissing me goodbye. My husband didn't come home for another week, but when he did get home, I had to tell him the story of what happened from start to finish, just like I'm telling you now. Of course, he was amazed. We talked about it the rest of the night and contemplated the reality of it. That night, I had a very interesting dream, and when I woke up the next morning, I told my husband all about it. He had a shocked look on his face, and he told me he had had the same exact dream with all the details I told him about, except for one small difference. In the dream, we were little kids again. We were in this big room with other kids, and we were all looking out this huge window. All we could see were stars, millions and millions of stars, and in the distance was an orangish-looking planet. We were all quiet, and we just watched in amazement. In my dream, my husband, as a child, turned around and took my hand and smiled. In his dream, he remembered turning around to see me as a child, grabbing my hand and smiling. And then we both turned back to the window and looked out at the approaching planet and the star field. Is this what they meant when they said, I should know in the back of my mind that I was safe? Because maybe I've been there before? My husband and I have known each other since we were little. The two of us have always been obsessed with space and the stars. Maybe, just maybe, it's because we've been there but couldn't remember. I still can't wrap my head around it, and I'm afraid to tell anyone this story in fear that they'll think I'm insane. I would love to hear what your audience thinks. This has been another strange but true story. So, she's asking, what do you think? A vivid dream or a reality revealed to them by interstellar travelers? Let us and the lady who sent us this story know what you think in the comments below. And if you have an interesting story that you find hard to explain to your friends or family, we'd love to hear it. Send us your story in an email to strangebutTrueStories2@gmail.com. Subscribe if you haven't already and sign up for notifications so you know when the next video drops to the channel. Thanks to all who have, and we appreciate you spending time with us today watching this video. I'm Steve White. Until next time.